have to look outside of the software and outside of the system to measure other weights of other chains to see if in fact those are the authoritative chains, right? And the same.
Sure. So my view is it's more like it's, as has been explained by other people like Nassim Taylor, this idea of Schelling point, right? If you had to meet somebody in New York, you didn't know the time and the place, and in the book he talks about he says 12 noon at Central, right? And so the point is, where do people go? And I totally accept your point that there is a bit of a social layer of consensus.
Well,
around
Schelling
that,
points are only easy when they're not. A Schelling point is only easy to arrive at when there's not a wide range of conscious, reasonable choices. So, if instead of Central Station being the most popular station, the division of popular stations were threefold, and there was, Central Stations A, B, and C, and they were in different locations, then you would arrive at like a 1/3 each person would decide that Schelling point, right? So that Schelling points are only effective when the tie breakers are rather obviously broken. But in a Bitcoin's case, when you go to bitcoin.com and they're telling you the real Bitcoin is something else, and they're telling you that that's the real intention of the white paper, and they own the .com domain name, for a noob that doesn't know any better, I mean, that would sound pretty compelling, right? And then who are you going to go to for your Schelling point? It's social consensus again, and I'll just finish this point.
Yeah, you finish.
Well, you know what? You finish that point, because this thing is like an almost different point. So go ahead.
Sure. So the way I would think about that is, think of it more from an economic point of view.
Mm-hmm.
There are strong opportunity costs holding one money over another money, right? It's easy
can I ask
to have
you?
Facebook
I know
Twitter
this
account.
is a stupid question, but your internet connection kind of sucks. Is there any way to make your internet connection better?
I'm running VPN. I could turn it off.
You should turn that off, because the connection is unbearable. You just keep dropping out.
All right.
And your video is choppy. It's like super choppy. Like the video is a joke. Like you just paused, basically.
One sec.
All right.
Okay.
Wow. It looks a lot better now.
How's it now? It's good?
It's a miracle better. Thank God.
Okay,
yes.
no worries.
I'm glad I asked.
All right, so
it was quite bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, so going back to that point, so the opportunity cost, the very strong opportunity cost of holding one money over another, and part of that.
But in the case of a fork, you got both for free. There's no opportunity cost at the fork instant.
But you could then, but you might then speculate then on, and now again, you could be quote unquote neutral and not redeem the fork and just not take a position and just let the market decide.
I believe neutral is a position, and as a trader, I wrote a guide for everyone to sell their BCH at 0.16, and now it's at like 0.3 or something. So enjoy all that money, guys, that I hooked you up with for showing you how to dump your bags, right? I believe that neutral is a position. I'm just saying. So I don't want to go too deep into this. So what my important goal here is to show you that the stuff that you believe in is cool, and I believe in it too, and I've found better ways to do all of it. So if you want people to be able to transmit value in a peer-to-peer way, then doing that with censorship resistance is better. And I will tell you that you have more censorship resistance in the Ethereum network than you have in the Bitcoin network. And I will justify it with facts that you can go check, right? If you don't like paying a bunch of fees to a bunch of people that just pollute the environment with the energy, well, you can pay fees to people that pollute the environment less and give you better security on the Ethereum network than you can do it on the Bitcoin network. If you want to use a stable coin, which is the majority of crypto usage, not the majority, but the most popular crypto for transactions is Tether. If you use Bitcoin, you don't have decentralized finance. You don't have a peer-to-peer stablecoin. But in Ethereum, you do. You have a peer-to-peer stablecoin. And so instead of having a bank that you insert an extra counterparty into in between you and the bank so that you can't even sue the bank, and if the bank screws them, they'll screw you, right? And you don't get any interest on the account. That's what a stablecoin is. So if you're in the Bitcoin ecosystem, you were locked into something which is worse, which is a non-peer-to-peer, extra counterparty stablecoin, whereas in the Ethereum ecosystem, you're not, right? If you want privacy You've got a ZK snark system already rolled out on Ethereum called Zephyr. However, it takes too much gas, so you can't use it right now. You've got optimistic rollups, which can do 100x the throughput on chain. If you want to talk about those, talk to Eric Wall. I'm out of the loop on a lot of the new cool ZK snark and ETH2 stuff. They've got a more aggressive roadmap. They've got lower transaction fees. There's 2 coins that tried to build on top of Bitcoin. Counterparty XCP that burnt 2,000 Bitcoin to launch, and Omni Protocol. And Tether used to run on the Omni Protocol on top of Bitcoin. And they left it and moved the majority of their trades over to ERC20 and Ethereum because it works better. So the coin that actually does more volume than any other cryptocurrency left Bitcoin goodbye, bye-bye, and went to Ethereum because it's better, right? Like, you like atomic cross swaps? All the ERC20s can atomic cross swap against all the other ones with no order book, no counterparty risk, trustless. What can you atomic cross swap with Bitcoin? Basically jack shit, right? So you're forced to use a worse stable coin. You're forced to use shittier counterparties because there's no atomic cross swaps, because you live in this little fucking bubble, you won't interact or communicate with anything else. And finance is more than currency, right? Finance is more than currency. The project I built addresses time deposits. Time deposits are worth 7.2 trillion in the United States and China. That's more than printed currency, which is what Bitcoin is designed to replace. So I'm addressing a larger market cap that serves more users with lower fees and better security. Bitcoin's had 2 inflation bugs. Ethereum's had 0 inflation bugs, right? Bitcoin rolled back the chain once, Ethereum rolled back the chain once. Ethereum rolled back the chain to screw over a hacker. Bitcoin rolled back the chain just because the code failed. And the code is likely to continue to run into inflation bugs because it's spaghetti code with no modularity. In Hex, the consensus network code is locked into a smart contract that no one can edit, and therefore it's nearly impossible to accidentally screw up the consensus code. But it's very easy to do in Bitcoin because an improvement to the networking stack to reduce latency caused an inflation bug, which let anyone print as much money as they found. And since Bitcoin doesn't even have a bug bounty program, which Ethereum does, that bug was found by a Bitcoin Cash developer who disclosed it honorably. He could have used it. If you found that bug, would you just print some free Bitcoin, or would you tell the world about it? Right?
Even then, okay. So look, there's a lot of different points we're gonna hit there. So, okay, so
I could go all day. Like I used to be a maximalist, and I'm not now, and I know how to play both sides of the coin, and I'm on the right side.
Okay, so look, let me give a high level comment about this, right? So first of all, I would suggest we have to think of this firstly as a money, not as a technology, right? It's most important to think of it as a money first. The other stuff is.
But they don't.
That's
what?
kind of.
I disagree with that because it's not used as a money anywhere. There's only 800 people that even accept it on the internet. 800, unless that website is terribly bad at finding them. Nothing is priced in it. It's priced in USD. There's only 2.8 million wallets that have over $1,000 on them. I mean, it is sure as fuck not used as a money. It's used as a speculative instrument. They don't even use it on the dark. Well, I mean, they use it on the darknet, but that's only like 5% of total volume.
I think. From the articles I've seen in the darknet markets, they are still using Bitcoin.
Yes,
as
primarily, but that's 5% of the market cap.
There, and look, I think the broader point is this is not something that I think people come out and expect Bitcoin to kind of be born and just ready to go straight away.
For 10 years, 10 years. Do you know how long it took WhatsApp to take over the world? 2 years. You know how long it took Fortnite to take over the world? 1 year. 10 years in technology is eternity, truthfully.
I think that's actually very short. We've been using, government money for how many years? Many decades.
How many? Okay, so let's list some companies like Airbnb or WhatsApp or Fortnite or Clash of Clans. All of these companies have hundreds of millions of users in a shorter time frame than Bitcoin got to 3 million users.
It's probably a bit more than 3 million, but
it's not. Okay, it's not. It can show you on chain. Look, there's only 2.8 million wallets that have over $1,000 on them, and most people have more than one address. Not wallets, 2.8 million addresses, and most people have more than one address. So there's probably only like 1.5 or 2 million actual entities that even hold more than $1,000 of Bitcoin. Furthermore, 40% of Bitcoin is held in addresses that hold over 1,000 coins. I don't think you're one of those guys. Which means that the vast majority of this thing you love so much is owned by an economic class of people of which you are not a member and are unlikely to ever be. And so it's funny when I see guys talk about disrupting the banks and changing the world and helping onboard the poor people when the banks own more coins than you, right? Tim Draper bought the Silk Road coins. He's got over 100K coins. The Winklevi have over 100K coins. Plus Token Ponzi has over 100K coins. The Mt. Gox trustee has over 140K coins. And how many do you have? And so you think you're participating in this world-changing, amazing ecosystem that's going to bring power to the little guy. But in reality, the little guys are just pumping the bags of the fucking banks. Oh, and by the way, my currency fixes that because we penalize those whales 75%.
Because it ultimately comes down to money is neutral. And so yes, there will be
No,
some.
it's not.
Yes, there.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? Money's neutral. What?
As in, I mean, in the sense that it's a neutral tool, right? The same as you can use a knife to cut food, or you can like sort of go to.
I mean, look, that's a cool story, but like, it's just not the case. I mean, let's talk about how neutral Bitcoin is, okay? Can your grandmother use it? Fuck no. All right, so it's ageist off the bat, right? And how many girls are in crypto? Fucking none, right? I look at my demographics, it's 1 or 2%. So this concept that like money is like neutral, maybe, but Bitcoin ain't fucking neutral. I could tell you that for sure. Like it is not neutral at all.
I think it's a long-term process. I think we do this more like a multi-decade process. And
did you turn your VPN back on? Because you're chopping.
An email server back in the early days, right? It's like it takes time, and especially with Bitcoin, people have to learn a bit more about how to run your own node and how to do these aspects around key management and so on. These are becoming easier over time.
So I'm gonna repeat what you said so that the people can understand it because it's chopping so bad. I believe what Stefan said was that he believes this is a multi-decade process, and people need to learn how to do the hard things like download and run their own node. Right?
And these are getting easier.
People are saying to turn your video off and just go audio only. That's a good idea. Can you try that?
Okay, sure.
All right.
Yep. Okay. What's that?
I think it's better.
It's up to you. Look, I would say that there's a lot there around the monetary component, but it's going to take time. This is not the sort of thing that can just happen overnight. And the way you're painting it is sort of like, oh, it should have been formed, and like, oh, grandma should be able to use Bitcoin. Yeah.
Okay. Let me respond to this. First of all, lots of other coins that are not Bitcoin are having no problem onboarding millions and millions of users. Unfortunately, those coins are Ponzi schemes and scams. One coin onboarded millions of users. BitConnect onboarded millions of users. The Plus Token Ponzi made the 3K bottom and made the 14K top when their founders were arrested. So even our price chart in Bitcoin is the slave to the Ponzi schemes who actually have the margin and the marketing to advertise into the real world and onboard people, something that Bitcoin does not have and is not going to have ever. Because with the awesome censorship resistance, unfortunately, came economic spread, economic censorship resistance. There's no one has a big enough bag that can make enough profit onboarding a new user to pay the $200 it might cost to bring them on. Or maybe you could do it for really cheap. You could do it for 20, right? You pay 25 cents a click. It costs you, let's say, 100 clicks to get somebody. Okay, well now that just cost you, $25. Right? And now can you get them to buy Bitcoin? And how much Bitcoin do they have to buy in order to drive the price up far enough for you to make your $25 back? It's too far spread out, which is the reason you can make a Bitcoin.com that sells a fake Bitcoin and never get sued. But if you try that with XRP, you'll get this crap suit out of you because they have enough economic centralization to defend their corporate interests, right? And they have marketing budgets and they can do partnerships with other people and put out advertisements, things that Bitcoin can't do. And these are all things that I'm solving with my project, which I'm giving for free to Bitcoin holders.